Hi, I'm Charlie, co-founder and director here at Trident Search. I focus on building out specialist cyber defense teams and the executive search market in cybersecurity, focused on the UK and have global presence. Predominantly, we work with consultancies, MSPs, and end users. We've been doing it for a good number of years now. I think combined across the teams, we've got around 30 plus years experience, which is really, really good.
Yep, I'm Sean. I run the cyber vendor team at Trident Search. So our focus is to predominantly place go-to-market and product specialists within disruptive cyber vendors. We focus mainly on the US, UK, Europe and the Middle East. I think a big thing for us in 2022 was seeing the growth in emerging markets. So our team has grown significantly from a team of 3 to now 9, and we do have specialist recruiters that focus on the Middle East as well as the US.
2022 was absolutely surreal. I think it was so busy. Inevitably, there's a lot of noise in the markets, right? Everyone's saying, oh, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? And coming towards the end of 2022, you had a big talk around the recession. For defense, it's a very, very resilient space. There's always going to be that demand for that talent, and with everyone going into remote work like the year before, companies are constantly solidifying that presence. Now they're going to hybrid, and I think there are cuts across the industry, but clients are now super conscious of security and data, and that goes into 2023. It's going to be exactly the same, if not busier. We've had the busiest start.
I think another thing for me that I saw in 2022 was with it being the first year, I guess in a few years, where seasonal activity sort of came back into play. So summer and Christmas quieter than what they had been due to COVID. For companies that were really trying to force people back into the office, it's meant a bit of a dip in growth, because whereas before they were able to hire talent from anywhere, now they've been more selective with locations. It's meant not being as competitive in the market for the best talent. So for 2023, I don't think anything changes. If anything, the year's going to be busier. We've already seen since coming back from Christmas, this year has been twice as busy as last year. A big thing for me on the vendor side has been the interest in candidates wanting to work for smaller businesses, so startups. So our team predominantly focus on working with security vendors that are pre-Series C. Why I think that is, due to the large organizations in the tech industry, companies like Microsoft and Meta making mass layoffs. I think for the first time in probably forever, candidates and people in general feel safer in a startup, especially one that's got good funding and a steady level of growth.
To play devil's advocate to your point, it's again the consulting area. Last year we saw all the people in cyber defense get snapped up by some large names who are paid kind of ridiculous salaries, and everyone wants more money, which is great and fantastic. And if you get like 12 months experience there, great. But from going into 2023, at the back end of 22, we saw so many layoffs, and I think we put a few articles out about it recently around the progression within a startup and the opportunity that you can have, and the excitement of actually not being a small cog in a large machine can offer you so much more. I think a lot of people are going to want to join more specialist teams and actually get that exposure. And across all industries other than cyber, everyone's looking for more of a better culture, a better work-life balance, and it's no longer about the money. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I think on the go-to-market side specifically, candidates have been a lot more inquisitive and focused on the tech itself and the business and what makes that business special. And you see the start businesses with new emerging tech have become like really interesting to work for, as opposed to going working for a huge scene vendor that competes with, 15 others. I think from our side of the business, that's where we've seen changes in behaviours with candidates, not necessarily wanting to work for huge vendors anymore.
I think it makes our job more exciting, ultimately. We have to find out more about the client. We have to find out the direction of the business and actually know their competitors, understand what they are doing, what this company needs to do to be able to retain talent. And without knowing your, product, how are you supposed to sell that to someone who wants that job? So it's going to be an exciting 2023. I think touching on selling the job, one of our main struggles will be actually consulting with clients and saying, right, okay, you don't actually need a security analyst, for example, you need a security engineer. Probably quite similar reviews, like, okay, well, how do you expect to kind of reward this person if you have a commission structure in play and all those kind of things? So that's something that we have to step up to in 2023. So key considerations clients need to think about in 2023 and the struggles they're going to find is the first one, probably competitors. I've spoken to so many people, they're in, we'll say, a dead-end SOC, and there's no investment from leadership or the board, and they've been going for X amount of years where their competitor have been going for half the time, they've got half the amount of people, and they're doing all the right things because they're listening to their teams and they're seeing what their competitors are doing, and they end up getting acquired or whatever that business objective is, they're achieving it. And it's a little bit frustrating when we sit there from a consultancy perspective and think, well, actually, you should be doing that. That's like 101 basics. So I think clients need to be aware of what they're not doing and actually listen to their teams. If you don't, you're going to end up spending like another six months hiring again and really understanding what it is they need in terms of their role. Do you need someone to be technical or can you outsource it? And speaking to a good consultant can really help that.
Yeah, I think a big thing for me, especially working with startups, is making sure that when startups are going from just hiring 1 or 2 people to really growing and adding a headcount of 50 or 60, is making sure that they've got the structure and the processes in place to be able to do that. That's, I guess, something that me and my team are really good at, and what we love doing is helping clients go from cradle to grave with a process, and not just hiring 1 or 2 people, but helping product and build teams. For me, like, it's absolutely key. If you don't have those structures and processes in place and you want to grow, then you'll fill your team with the wrong people, and we know how critical about eye can be.
Educating and having an open mind is key. You need to be able to offer a culture more than anything and build up those retention rates. Really listen to your teams and see what's out there on the market. If you have to, spend time speaking to recruiters to get that inside information about the markets, and just try and stay as competitive as possible and give your team something to work towards.
Startups specifically need to hire people that fit within the culture, build a good culture which will attract better people in the long term. You can find people that are good, have the right values, the right culture, and you can train them. Trying to find a 10 out of 10 candidate is impossible and doesn't exist.
Ultimately, what can clients do to secure the best talent in 2023 and beyond? It's got to be, why am I trying?